Come here.
What do you have?
You love me?
Yes, I love you.
Come here.
What is it?
You love me? Back up. Back up.
No, what is it? What is that?
You love me?
Yes, I love you.
You love me?
Babe.
You love me?
Yes, I love you.
You be my wife?
Babe, what is that? Babe, stop lying. Stop.
You see what it is? Look, y'all. I'm ready. That bitch dinks.
Babe.
You gonna marry me?
Yes, I'll marry you.
Come here then. What you doing, sexy?
I want to date my name.
I know, yeah. What's up? She already took, boy. Stop playing. Where's that I get? What you getting, babe? Damn, she's so sexy.
Paris Austin tells me he had a grave feeling his little sister, Jakaira Ortiz, was already dead as he drove from Virginia to Fayetteville Saturday morning to look for her. He says he and several of his family members, including his mother, traveled to Fayetteville from out of state to track down his sister with the police. They were all here at the Lake in the Pines apartments on Tamarack Drive when police found her body in one of the apartments. Fayetteville police say Jakaira, also known by her birth name as Jakaira Triplet, was last seen with her fiancé. Her fiancé did not return a call today from Eyewitness News. And family members say they hadn't heard from her since they were all together celebrating on New Year's Eve.
What began as a missing person report in Fayetteville, North Carolina, quickly developed into a homicide investigation. On January 4th, 2025, police responded to a call at a residence on Tamarack Drive and found 24-year-old Jakaira Ortiz dead inside the home. Authorities immediately classified the case as a homicide and began examining the circumstances surrounding her death. At the center of the investigation was Julian Goode-Wallace, identified by law enforcement as Ortiz's fiancé. To people outside the relationship, Ortiz and Goode-Wallace appeared to be a stable and committed couple preparing for marriage. There were no immediate public indications that their relationship would become the focus of a criminal case. That perception changed once investigators began reconstructing the timeline. Julian Goode-Wallace was the last person known to be with Jakaira Ortiz. He provided an account of events that investigators compared against physical evidence, digital records, and findings from the scene. As those comparisons were made, inconsistencies raised further questions. Police reviewed how the couple met, how their relationship progressed, and what occurred in the hours leading up to Ortiz's death. Goode-Wallace was later arrested and charged with first-degree murder. This case follows documented investigative steps that show how a relationship that appeared stable on the outside became the setting for a homicide investigation involving the person closest to the victim. You're watching Crimelens Uncovered, where the spotlight of social media casts the darkest shadows. From TikTok phenoms and Instagram couples to Facebook influencers, we peel back the filters to reveal the crimes behind the fame. Subscribe if you want the unfiltered truth behind the trending hashtags, because by the time a story explodes online, the tragedy has already happened. Now let's dive in. Jakaira Ortiz was a 24-year-old woman residing in Fayetteville, North Carolina, at the time of her death. Public reporting indicates she had been living in the United States prior to the incident. Information regarding Ortiz's professional or educational background is limited in public records, and news reports do not specify her occupation or daily activities prior to the events leading to her death. What is known is that she maintained active relationships with her family and was reported missing after last being seen with her fiancé, Julian Goode-Wallace, who later became the primary suspect in the investigation. Family and acquaintances described Jakaira Ortiz as a very kind, sweet, and loving person who valued her relationships with others. She was approachable, caring toward those around her, and often offered support to friends and relatives. Her personality left a positive impression on those who knew her, and she was remembered as someone considerate, thoughtful, and genuinely attentive to the needs of her family and social circle. Ortiz's life, as publicly documented, reflects her age, location, family connections, and her personality, with a focus on her disappearance and subsequent identification as the victim in a homicide investigation. Julian Goode-Wallace, 26 years old at the time of the incident, was the fiancé of Jakaira Ortiz and the last person known to be with her before her death. He lived with Ortiz in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where the couple maintained a shared household and daily routines. Goode-Wallace is a rapper who frequently shared snippets of his songs and musical projects online, highlighting his creative pursuits.
I was down on my ass, man, I needed you. Coppers locked me in them shackles, yeah, I needed you. Mama always on my phone, yeah, I needed you. Family stayed up on my books, yeah, I needed you. Them niggas count me out and doubted I don't need you. That's how they say she love me, switched up, I don't need you. I'm in my back, boo, I be flexing, I don't need you. I'm paper chasing at this time, now I don't need you, yeah. All that pain that I go through, now
In addition to his engagement, he had a daughter from a previous relationship, whom he expressed affection for publicly by regularly posting videos of her on social media.
Shopping spree with Jill. Y'all here, man. You know what's up. Yo, she got them shoes.
I want my dad.
Yeah, we shopping.
Yeah, we are to shopping.
Yeah, so I get anything I want to if I want it. Look, she trying to rob me. Hey, get out of my pocket. Hey, get back here. Get back here.
His relationship with Ortiz involved coordination of daily responsibilities, future planning, and maintaining a domestic environment typical of an engaged couple. Jakaira Ortiz and Julian Goode-Wallace were engaged and living together at the time of the events that later became the focus of a homicide investigation. Their engagement represented a mutual decision to formalize their commitment, and they maintained a shared domestic life characterized by planning, coordination, and routine responsibilities. Within the household, both individuals participated in discussions about daily tasks, future goals, and logistical matters, creating a structured environment typical of engaged couples. Their relationship, while outwardly conventional, contained private dynamics that were only revealed in detail after the investigation began. The progression of their relationship followed a common trajectory. Initially, Ortiz and Goode-Wallace met, developed a bond, and transitioned into a dating relationship. Over time, they made plans to formalize their commitment, culminating in an engagement. This process established a pattern of shared decision-making, mutual planning, and coordination of day-to-day activities. The engagement became a significant milestone, marking a formal recognition of their intended future together. While their relationship appeared stable externally, the private nature of their interactions meant that the underlying dynamics were not fully visible to others.
You got that right.
I got a potato. Potato. This is my first time having it. Yeah.
That's good.
You want the potato? This is your first time?
Try the corn.
Let me try it, because I love corn.
Corn is on point, guys. Corn is on point.
We fat as shit. Yo, we're fat as shit.
Big back activity again. Oh my god. I know what's going on. What's up, baby?
The private dynamics that developed over time became central to understanding the sequence of interactions and decisions that occurred within the household in the days leading up to Ortiz's death. Daily routines in their shared life included household management, social coordination, and mutual planning for future events. These routines provided structure to the relationship and allowed each individual's presence and behavior to be documented, traced, and later analyzed by investigators. The period leading up to Jakaira Ortiz's death involved a series of interactions and events between her and Julian Goode-Wallace. The timeline includes her last known movements, the exchanges between the couple, and the activities occurring in shared spaces. Actions, communications, and behavioral patterns during this period provide the framework for understanding the sequence that culminated in her death. What interactions occurred between Ortiz and Goode-Wallace in the days and hours before the event? How did routines and behaviors shift during this period? What sequence of actions led to the incident? On the morning of January 4th, 2025, law enforcement officers were called to the residence where Jakaira Ortiz lived. Upon arrival, they located Ortiz deceased inside the home. The initial report prompted the immediate reclassification of the case from a missing person inquiry to a homicide investigation. Investigators secured the scene to preserve evidence, ensuring that no potential physical traces were disturbed. This included documenting the layout of the residence, photographing all areas relevant to the location of Ortiz's body, and identifying any objects or materials that could provide information about the circumstances of her death. Officers followed standard homicide protocols to maintain the integrity of the scene for later forensic examination. The individual last known to be with Ortiz became the primary focus of the investigation. Investigators obtained statements and compared them against physical observations within the residence. A timeline of events leading up to the discovery of Ortiz was reconstructed, taking into account her daily routines, interactions, and any deviations that could provide insight into the incident. Evidence collection included items from the scene that might indicate a sequence of events, as well as digital and communication records associated with Ortiz and the person last known to be with her. All collected evidence was carefully cataloged and preserved for analysis, following procedural standards to ensure admissibility in legal proceedings. Investigators examined the residence for signs of forced entry, struggle, or other indicators that could suggest how the fatal event occurred. They also evaluated whether the evidence indicated a sudden act or a planned sequence of events. Each piece of information was documented in detail to contribute to the overall reconstruction of the circumstances surrounding Ortiz's death. By the conclusion of the initial on-site investigation, authorities had established the location, approximate timing, and physical context of the fatal incident. This groundwork allowed the homicide unit to continue a methodical inquiry, focusing on connections, timelines, and behaviors that would provide clarity about the events leading up to and immediately following January 4th, 2025. Following the investigation into the death of Jakaira Ortiz, authorities determined that the individual last known to be with her would become the central focus of legal action. Law enforcement took Julian Goode-Wallace into custody and formally charged him with first-degree murder, alleging that he was responsible for Ortiz's death.
Well, Fayetteville police make an arrest after a woman was found dead in a home.
Officers responded to a report of a missing person on Tamarack Drive just before 9 o'clock Saturday morning. They found Jakaira Ortiz. She died before she could be taken to the hospital. Officers arrested Julian Goode-Wallace yesterday and charged him with first-degree murder. He is in the Cumberland County Detention Center without bond tonight.
The filing of first-degree murder charges indicates that the prosecution contends the act was intentional and premeditated, meeting the statutory criteria for the highest level of homicide. Upon arrest, Goode-Wallace was held without bond, ensuring that he remained in custody while the judicial process progressed. The formal charges marked a transition from investigative procedures to active criminal prosecution. Legal procedures included arraignment hearings, where the charges were presented to the court, and the defendant was given the opportunity to enter a plea. Following this, the case was scheduled to proceed through motions, evidence review, and pretrial procedures as determined by the court. By formally charging Goode-Wallace, the authorities initiated the legal mechanisms to hold him accountable, while ensuring that all procedures adhered to the established judicial process. Jakaira Ortiz and Julian Goode-Wallace were publicly viewed as a stable and committed couple, presenting the appearance of a relationship moving toward marriage and shared life plans. To family, friends, and acquaintances, their interactions suggested trust, cooperation, and a partnership without visible conflict. Outwardly, the couple appeared ordinary, and there were no immediate indications that their relationship would become the focus of a criminal investigation. Law enforcement later determined that the events leading to Jakaira Ortiz's death contradicted this public perception, illustrating that appearances can differ significantly from the reality within a household. This case demonstrates how a relationship that appears healthy and stable externally can conceal risks not apparent to outsiders. The investigation underscores the importance of careful evidence collection, timeline reconstruction, and objective analysis in domestic homicide cases, particularly when the suspect is a spouse or partner. By systematically reviewing communications, movements, and behavior, investigators were able to build a case that transitioned from discovery to formal charges. Ultimately, the investigation into Jakaira Ortiz's death and Julian Goode-Wallace's alleged involvement illustrates the methodical process required to uncover the truth when appearances are deceptive. It emphasizes how law enforcement relies on factual evidence, verified statements, and procedural steps to move from incident discovery to legal accountability. The case highlights that even relationships that appear ordinary publicly can conceal circumstances leading to homicide. The structured investigative process allowed authorities to establish a clear chain of events, clarify responsibility, and present a factual account demonstrating how a relationship that seemed good externally became the setting for a homicide investigation. And that concludes today's case. But remember, this is just one of countless hidden stories waiting to be brought to light. Here at Crimelens Uncovered, we're committed to digging beneath the surface, giving a voice to those who can no longer speak, and making sure their stories are never lost to time. If today's investigation gave you new perspective, just wait. There are more cases coming that will shock, disturb, and challenge the way you see the world. So don't forget to subscribe, tap the like button, and turn on notifications, so you're always first to know when a new story drops. We release fresh investigations regularly, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Before you go, share your thoughts in the comments. Which part of this case resonated with you most? Your voice helps keep these stories alive. Until next time, stay alert, stay safe, and remember, the search for justice always begins with the truth. Crimelens Uncovered, where every case finds its voice.